Hiya. So today I'm on the South Stratford Canal at Wilmcote Top Lock. Stratford is 2.5 miles behind me and I'm going that way. Let's have a chat about it. See you on the water. So I'm on the South Stratford Canal today, and I'm starting where I've started for a very good reason, and that's because from a paddleboarding point of view, locks are something that I carry round. I don't go through on canals for lots of different reasons. However, behind me, between here and Stratford, there's 2.5 miles and 17 locks. That's because there's a fall from this canal, the Stratford Canal, down to the Avon, the River Avon, going through Stratford Upon Avon, of 115 feet, around about 35 metres. So those 17 locks I don't want to carry around. So in the late 1700s there was quite a, what they called a Canal Mania, where canals were being built all over the place. They were seen as an excellent way to get freight all over the country, especially from the Midlands coalfields to all over the place around the country, down to London and around the world. And in 1793 a canal was proposed to be built out from the Midlands and down towards Stratford. Now that was being built for a while, and after a while it started running low on money. These things were very expensive. So as a proposal, there was a guy that lived in Stratford Upon Avon. He was a land agent, and he thought it'd be a great idea to kind of finance some of it himself, certainly sponsor some of it himself, to start building the canal up from the Avon in Stratford Upon Avon to join up with the north bit. Now his wonderful idea was that would mean if the Stratford Upon Avon part of the Avon, that joins with the Severn, the River Severn. So all traffic from the River Severn could come up through the Avon onto the Stratford Upon Avon Canal and up into the Midlands. But like I said, canals are pretty expensive things to build. That's pretty wonderful, I like that. Morning, mate. So William James, he was an investor, already an investor. He was a land agent, but he was an investor in the canals anyway, and he recognised how expensive they were, and he also recognised that the north end had stalled because of lack of money. Therefore he didn't so much want to build this end on the cheap, but he wanted to build it cheaper. Now for a start, this is a narrow canal built for narrow boats. There's two types of canal in the UK. There's the narrow ones and there's the wide ones. The wide ones are made for wide beam boats. You can get bigger boats down them, and they were more profitable, but they cost twice as much to build. It's not so much making a wider canal that's the extra cost, but it's the infrastructure that goes with it. It's the locks that are very expensive things to build. It's the bridges that are very expensive things to build. So what he did was he came up with a plan. So all of the locks, for a start, they're all narrow locks. They're all made to a sort of a standard design, which makes things cheaper anyway, standardization. But also, they only have one gate at either end. A lock is about 7 feet wide. Normally, they've got two lock gates either end to hold back the water. They were designed with only one gate. Now that puts more pressure on that one gate, but it makes things considerably cheaper because lock gates are very expensive things. So that was the first thing. Now the next thing is bridges. Now with the road bridges, obviously they had to be big and robust because they had, you know, all sorts of heavy traffic going over them, horses and carts and things, but nevertheless heavy traffic going over them. But when you're building across farmland, you've got to make access for the farm to get from one field to the next. Normally that involves a big brick built thing going across, and obviously the towpath going underneath with the horse, because the horse is towing a rope, and that rope needs to follow through with the horse to pull the boat through. Now if you look at this bridge is pretty clever actually. If you look, there's no towpath going through it. The towpath goes around there. So the horse went round there, the boat came through here, and cleverly these cast iron, cantilever cast iron pre-made bridges had a slot all the way down the middle so they could put the rope through there. How clever is that? So that made for a much cheaper farm bridge. So all of the bridges along here that are for farms are all cast iron cantilever halves put together with a slot down the middle so the rope can go through. That made the bridges much cheaper. Other canals tried to save money doing other things like lift bridges. Lots of the Oxford Canal just had wooden bridges to start off with because they were much cheaper to build than the stone ones and the brick ones. But yeah, I think the cast iron ones with the slot down the middle, I love that. Some of them over the years have sagged a bit actually, and there's no slot anymore. But I guess you don't need it anymore because there's no horses. I love these early paddles. It's just coming up 8 o'clock now. And it's really lovely. All the sun's on the water. Got a slight breeze behind me, pushing me along as well, which is brilliant. This is just lovely. You need to get yourself out on the canals. It's just great. I'm just passing a winding hole here. For those of you that don't know, a winding hole is where narrowboats can turn round. Because they're so long, they can't turn round in the main channel. So they make slightly bigger holes going out into the bank. They're called winding holes because wind means turn. It's a very old word meaning to turn, to wind, to wind. So they're turning round there. So as I was saying, some of these bridges, they've closed up a little bit, and you can see on this one where it has. There, you just couldn't get a rope through there these days. And that's a weir there, that's basically to stop the canal overflowing. So it can only ever get as high as that, then it will all sit down there, which means the towpath will always remain clear. Great solution. Now on the Stratford Canal there are 3 aqueducts. An aqueduct is a bridge that carries water. There are 3 aqueducts, and I'm approaching by far the most impressive one. Hello swans. Eating my blackberries they are. I'll let you. So I'm approaching now the Edstone Aqueduct, and I'll give you some figures now. There are 13 bridge piers holding up 35 cast iron troughs that are all bolted together. Now those cast iron troughs, the dimensions of those are 9 feet wide, 5 feet deep. They all bolt together into a line, and that is 145 meters long, which is around about 775 feet. Interestingly, the canal towpath comes out from the bottom of those troughs, so the horse would have actually been walking along lower than the boat. His feet would have been lower than the boat. So here we go, we're going over it. It was built to cross, well, it crosses 2 railway lines, 1 path, 1 road, 1 river and a field. How fantastic is that? Whoa. That is pretty amazing. Also, where it goes over the railway lines, which I'm just coming to now, at one time this canal for a while was run by Great Western Railway, and they have a pipe. The pipe's still there actually. They had a pipe coming out of the bottom of the canal so that they could stop a steam locomotive and fill it full of water again. That was pretty clever. I read somewhere that once upon a time there was a problem because a fish got stuck in the pipe and they couldn't fill the engine. Sounds a bit leaves on the line and wrong type of snow to me, but there you are. So that's it, and that is that still over 200 years later, this is still the longest cast iron aqueduct in the country, and still going strong. I love that. So that was the South Stratford Canal, South Stratford Upon Avon Canal. That is just an amazing paddle, and that is an amazing aqueduct actually. And the bridges, and the wildlife, and just generally it's a really, really nice paddle to have. I do plan to do walking around all of the locks down to Stratford at some point. I think that'd be a great idea, but I also want to go further north on this canal. So do stay tuned for that. Anyway, like, subscribe, stay tuned. Happy paddling.